Hey guys, Blazen here, and today, in this video, I thought I'd go over all of the loadout weapons that were in the open alpha of Splitgate 2. Now, I did use all of these weapons without attachments and with no perks, so I can get a better sophisticated opinion, you could say, on these weapons. Now, by the time you see this video, the open alpha will be over, and I'm not sure if I'm going to go over all the factions in one video, or I might make 3 separate videos on each faction. But we are going to be starting with Aeros. Starting off with the Cadence Carbine. It's just a really good precision rifle. Not too much to say on it. Even without attachments, it's really good. Its only real limitation is you, the player. So if you're good with the Cadence will serve you. And if you're not good with the Cadence, well, maybe get good or choose another weapon. Because there isn't really a real problem with the weapon itself at all. It's just a really good rifle, and all you have to do is just be good with it. The attachments I like to run with this are rapid fire, which is going to be a very common theme, and piercing ammo. Rapid fire obviously increases the rate of fire of the gun, and piercing ammo, I actually am not entirely sure. Because piercing ammo on pistols, what that does is basically just allows you to pierce through multiple targets. You know, like the sniper rifle from Halo, let's say. But piercing ammo, when it comes to primary weapons, has a different description. It says it does extra body shot damage and leaves a mark, per se. Now, normally, from other shooters that I've seen where it says it leaves a mark, usually means one or both of these things. It either means the body shot damage is increased, but the amount of shots doesn't change, and or, let's say I land a few shots on my opponent will have a health regeneration delay. So let's say, it takes about 5 seconds to regen health. Maybe my opponent will take maybe 6 seconds to regen health. That's usually what it means, I think, when the description says leave a mark. But I'm not entirely sure. If you guys know, then you guys can let me know. But those are my thoughts on the Cadence, and it is my main primary. Moving on to the Tempo Assault Rifle. My thoughts haven't really changed much since the first alpha. It's just a really good all-round assault rifle. However, due to its nature, it does suffer a bit at longer ranges. Its recoil, I'd say, is pretty average. It does its job as an assault rifle even without attachments. I don't think there's too much to say on it. It's just your standard assault rifle. Easier to use, obviously, compared to the Cadence, so anybody can pick it up. And personally, I like to run, I think it was barrel extension and rapid fire. I think barrel extension is a must attachment for the Tempo, as like I said, the further your target is away, the less damage and just effectiveness of the Tempo starts to lack. Alright, moving on to the Blitz shotgun. This is probably my favorite shotgun in the game, the most fun I've had. It's fully automatic, it is not a one-shot kill, it's about, I'd say, a 3 to 4 shot kill, and naturally, due to its nature being a shotgun, I ran barrel extension and rapid fire. It's also still very good on its own without attachments. Moving on to the Pulse Burst Rifle. This rifle, I actually had a hard time hitting shots with. I think out of all the burst rifles I've tried from the other factions, this rifle needs attachments to function. From my experience, this burst rifle sucks without attachments. The recoil for me was really high, and because the recoil was very high, the 3-round bursts, the shot separation, was huge. So the attachments I ran with to fix the problem I had with it was bullet burst and grip. And it made the gun so much easier for me to aim with. Bullet burst, what it does is makes the 3-round burst tighter, and grip obviously decreases recoil. And it made the pull so much easier to use. Again, it's just my opinion. I think the gun sucks without attachments. The gun needs attachments to function. And at least for me, bullet burst and grip were the attachments to go. And lastly, the Sprinter SMG. What's unique about this SMG is it seems like the first 10 shots are really fast and then the rest of the mag stabilizes. Recoil is pretty high. Now, I was a madman and tried rapid fire and barrel extension, but at least for me, the recoil was really making me miss more shots. So eventually I said, fuck it. I put barrel extension and grip. And grip made a huge difference. It basically almost eliminated the recoil on it, and I started hitting my shots more. Without attachments, it's fine. It functions as it should as an SMG, but I think grip was the biggest difference maker. Like I said, it nearly eliminated almost most of the recoil. And then barrel extension, obviously, for it being an SMG, was just to extend that range more. And those are my thoughts on Aeros' primaries. Overall, I don't think there isn't one that stands out or overpowered or anything. They're just all fun guns to use. Let's move on to the secondaries. Starting with the Blitz pistol, not much to say on it. It's just your standard little guy. don't underestimate it. It could really save you in a pinch when you really need to finish someone off. I don't know if it's just me, but they might have increased the accuracy of this weapon compared to the first alpha. Because I remember in the first alpha, it had a bit of spread, but I don't know if they tightened that spread or am I crazy, but you guys can let me know. Overall, it's just your standard pistol, don't underestimate it. And I ran laser sight with it. Moving on to the punch heavy pistol. This pistol might be a little overpowered, as it kind of acts like a pocket sniper, except it doesn't have the full range of a sniper, and it does not have a one headshot capability. This thing can kind of be a primary on its own, as I believe it's usually a 2-shot kill, to the head anyways, and 3 shots to the body. And of course, you can make this damage output more consistent by adding a barrel extension to it, which is what I did. I don't think I would nerf its damage output. I think what I would personally do is nerf its mag capacity. Right now, as of this open alpha here, it holds 4 rounds. I would maybe make it so it only holds 2 rounds. That's probably the only nerf I would do to it. But yeah, overall this is a really good pistol. And I also like its design. I mean, it's a bolt action pistol. And finally, we come to the Juke burst pistol. Similar to the punch heavy pistol, this can be a pretty decent little primary. And unlike the pulse burst rifle, it's pretty decent without attachments. And yeah, not too much to say about it. Just a reliable little 3-round burst pistol. And I ran barrel extension with it. And those are my thoughts on Aeros' weapons. Overall, the only one that stood out to me was the punch heavy pistol. I think it might be doing a little too much. Now I am actually going to show off the equipment and the perks. So if you don't want to see that, just skip on over in the timestamps and we'll move on to Meridian. Alright, here we are on Meridian, and let's talk about its primary weapons. Starting off with the Hyperline, it's a very fun carbine. Similar to the Cadence, it's a very good rifle. As long as you're good with it, it'll serve you well. However, I do think the rate of fire is a little too fast, so I think the gun might need a slight rate of fire nerf, but other than that, the gun's fine. It's a very good rifle on its own, and the attachments I ran with it are rapid fire and piercing ammo. Moving on to the Synapse Assault Rifle. This AR might be a little too good. Like, it feels a little too accurate for what it is. Unlike the Tempo Assault Rifle from Aeros, this gun's recoil is very minimal. Now, this is probably one of my favorite weapons from Meridian, but I have to admit that this gun is probably way too accurate due to very minimal recoil. Like, the grip attachment isn't even a requirement, so I just ran barrel extension and rapid fire and just went to town with it. It's too easy to use for how effective it is. Moving on to the Charger Shotgun. I really like the way this thing looks, and it is fun to use. But, however, one thing I don't like about this gun is that it is capable of a one-shot kill. Now, due to this thing being a loadout weapon, I don't think it should be allowed to be a one-shot kill in any way whatsoever. So I would just simply remove the one-shot kill range and just make it a consistent 2-shot kill. The attachments I ran with it were barrel extension and rapid fire. Moving on to the Quantum Burst Rifle. This burst rifle was a lot of fun to use, and I still remember in the first alpha, this thing was hard as fuck to use. However, it's been a lot more easier to use in this open alpha, and it is okay by itself. Unlike the Pulse Burst Rifle, which I thought was completely almost useless by itself, the Quantum is okay by itself, but definitely can use attachments to make it better. And the attachments I ran with this was grip and actually rapid fire. I did try Bullet Burst, but I didn't think Bullet Burst made much of a difference with its fire rate and overall performance. I think firing 4 rounds in quick succession was already fine, but I think to me rapid fire was the ultimate answer, so I can fire those 4-round bursts faster, and grip obviously helped to tone down that recoil. Overall, I really like this rifle. I think it looks the coolest out of the Meridian primaries, and I can't really decide if this is my first or second favorite compared to the Synapse Assault Rifle. And finally, we come to the Phasma SMG. This is brand new to this open alpha, as this was not in the first alpha I played. Clearly Halo plasma rifle inspired design, but you know, still unique on itself, and just overall looks really cool. And unlike most of the guns I've covered so far, this gun is not hit scan. It is projectile based. It fires big balls of plasma energy, but the projectile velocity is slow. Like very noticeably slow. Like at further ranges, you're actually going to have to lead your shots if you want them to land. It's very good by itself. Like by itself, it doesn't need attachments. But the attachments I did run with it were barrel extension and rapid fire. To be honest, I'm not sure if barrel extension did anything. I don't know if it increased the projectile velocity or it might have increased the damage ranges. And then rapid fire, obviously, to increase the rate of fire. It does have a little bit of spread, but the recoil is extremely minimal. And those are my thoughts on the Phasma SMG. Overall, really cool design and really fun to shoot. And those are my thoughts on Meridian's primaries. Overall, like I said, the Hyperline I think could use a rate of fire nerf. The Synapse is too accurate for its own good. 1047 can nerf that how they will. And the Charger Shotgun, I would just remove its one-shot kill potential. Alright, that's pretty much it. Let's move on to its secondaries. Starting off with the Helios Light Pistol. My opinions really haven't changed, like pretty much at all since the first alpha. It's a very accurate pistol. So accurate that I don't even think laser sight is even necessary, or I don't even think it even does anything. So, for the most part, I ran piercing ammo with it. Moving on to the Coil Heavy Pistol. This, in my opinion, was my favorite heavy pistol in the game. I had the most fun with this one. It can be a very good primary on its own. It can kind of be a budget rifle. Also, much like the Charger Shotgun, it needs to charge up for it to be fired. And it is a nice complementary secondary to the Charge Up Shotgun. And because this pistol is so good, I ran barrel extension with it. And those are my thoughts on the Coil Heavy Pistol. Overall, it's really fucking good. And finally, we come to the Tetra Burst Pistol. Unlike the Juke Burst Pistol from Aeros, this pistol fires in 4-round bursts. So it's essentially a mini Quantum. And just like the last burst pistol, this burst pistol is also a pretty good primary on its own. And ultimately, I settled for barrel extension on it. And those are my thoughts on Meridian secondaries. Overall, the Coil really stood out to me. I really had fun with that one. Helios is still accurate as ever. And then the Tetra is nothing really special to write home about, other than just fires 4-round bursts instead of 3. And with that said, let's move on to Sabrask. And just like before, I will show off Meridian's equipment and perks. So if you don't want to see that, just skip to the timestamps. And we finally come to Sabrask, so let's go ahead and talk about its weapons. Starting off with the Warden Carbine. Now, from what I remember in the first alpha, this thing felt like a 3-shot no matter what. Like, the headshot didn't matter. However, in this latest open alpha, it's a 2-shot kill to the head and 3 shots to the body. And I don't know if it's just me, but they might have very slightly decreased the rate of fire to compensate for the 2 headshot kill. Now on paper, I know this probably sounds a little broken, but it's not always easy to land a 2-tap to the head consistently. And plus, other noticeable downsides to this rifle compared to the other 2 carbines is its very slow reload speed, and of course, like I mentioned, its very slow rate of fire. And on top of that, its very low mag count. It's already pretty good on its own, but the attachments I ran with are rapid fire and piercing ammo, once again. Moving on to the Trailblazer Assault Rifle. It's very similar to the Tempo Assault Rifle from Aeros, except one of the differences I find with this rifle is I find this to be better at range compared to the Tempo Assault Rifle. Its reload speed is also relatively fast compared to the other 2 assault rifles. I definitely ran rapid fire with this thing, but I couldn't decide if I wanted barrel extension or grip to go along with it. Next is the Plow Shotgun, and I honestly found more fun with this gun compared to the Charger Shotgun from Meridian. Now, just like the Charger Shotgun, it does have a 1-shot kill capability, and I already want that removed. But unlike the Charger Shotgun felt like it had a pretty long 1-shot kill range, whereas the Plow Shotgun here has a shorter one-shot kill range. At least that's what it felt to me. I got more consistent 2-shot kills with this shotgun compared to the Charger shotgun, which I got a little more consistent 1-shot kills. And of course, you probably guessed it, yes, I ran barrel extension and rapid fire with it. Next up is the Jackhammer burst rifle. It is a 2-round burst rifle, probably the most consistent burst rifle compared to the other 2 burst rifles. I definitely ran grip with it, but I can't remember if I ran bullet burst or rapid fire along with grip. But overall, another fun burst rifle to use. I definitely tried both bullet burst and rapid fire with this gun, and yeah, at least for me, my accuracy went kind of out the window. So I definitely needed grip, but I just can't remember which one I ran. Lastly, we come to the Rattler SMG, and in my opinion, this is probably the best SMG compared to the other 2 SMGs. It doesn't suffer from the high recoil of the Sprinter, nor does it have a slow projectile velocity like the Phasma. In fact, unlike the Sprinter, the Rattler starts out with the slow rate of fire, and the rate of fire ramps up the longer you hold down the trigger. Recoil wasn't too bad either, so all in all, I ran with rapid fire and barrel extension on it. And those are my thoughts on Sabrask primaries. Overall, most of these are relatively balanced. The Warden, I think what I would probably do is, right now it holds 10 shots in the mag, I'd probably decrease it to 8 shots to the mag just to keep the gun in check. And of course, just like the Charger shotgun, the Plow shotgun, I would like its 1-shot kill potential removed. And with that said, let's move on to the secondaries. Starting off with the Slinger pistol, and already as soon as I use this thing, I think they might have drastically increased the accuracy on this pistol. Because I remember in the first alpha, I think I said it was the most inaccurate pistol out of the 3, but it did do the most damage, and it seems like they might have tightened the grouping of this gun. However, one downside it still has that the other 2 pistols don't have is that its recoil is still a little higher compared to the other 2, but still relatively accurate. And because this gun feels like its accuracy was improved, I didn't run laser sight with it, and instead I ran piercing ammo. Moving on to the Goliath heavy pistol, what a fucking awesome name for a pistol. Out of the 3 heavy pistols, this one definitely behaves like your traditional Magnum. Very high recoil. There might have been a bit of spread on this one, I'm not entirely sure, but I did run barrel extension with it. Due to its very high recoil, I did struggle with this hand cannon a bit more compared to the other 2, but really good when you land your shots. Moving on to the Snare burst pistol, what a funny name for a pistol, and it also looks funny. This in my opinion was probably the most boring burst pistol to use compared to the other 2. Serves its purpose well, and honestly, I really don't have a lot to say about it. The attachment I use was barrel extension. And those are my thoughts on Sabrask secondaries. Overall, I think they're balanced really well, and there's really nothing I would change about them. Which pretty much brings us to the end of the video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, share the video around, and just like before, I'm going to show off Sabrask equipment and perks, and of course, leave a comment down below on your opinions on these guns, and maybe the attachments you guys ran with. And much like the last alpha, like I said before, I didn't really cover the equipment or perks, because in my opinion, when it comes to those things, it just comes down to playstyle preference. Alright, enjoy the rest of the footage. Until next time, peace.
You